Hi, everyone. Welcome to class today. My name is Bethany. I'm an educator with Singer Sewing Company, and today we're going to talk about applique techniques. So I'm really glad that you're here. If you're here, you're interested in applique, how you can apply that to your projects, maybe learning a new technique. And we've done applique here in Michael's Zoom classes before, which we've done several projects over the last we've been doing these classes for over 2 years now with them. So we've done several. I'm going to show you some examples. So we're going to revisit some of those techniques today. And then I have a technique that we haven't done in one of our classes. That's an applique technique that we're going to talk about as well. So that'll be a fun new feature for you all to learn today. I am going to be featuring the Singer Heavy Duty 6700C, which is a computerized heavy duty machine today. And you'll see why I chose this one here in just a little bit, but honestly, you could do these techniques on any sewing machine. So I'm going to show you how to get set up for success. I'm sorry if you heard my air freshener in the background. I probably should have turned that off before class. I didn't know. All right, so let's first of all, show of hands in the comments. Let me know if you've ever done applique before, or if this is a new technique that you're learning today. So let us know in the comments. Now, as Felicia mentioned, I have two people here in the background. I've got Amy. She is going to be assisting with helping link things that we've done either before previous classes that I'm going to be showing you projects of with Michael. She's going to help link some of those so you can save those links and reference them later. She's also going to link some of the products that we're going to be featuring and all of that. And then Vanessa is one of my colleagues as well, and she is going to be assisting with some of the education questions. So if there's a question you have, don't hesitate to put it in the chat. If she feels like it's something that I need to repeat, or she's seeing some of the same questions and I need to readdress it, she'll pop in, let me know, and we'll readdress that on camera for everybody. Other than that, are you guys ready? Someone said that they've only done it one time.
There's a lot, Bethany, that posted they were new.
Yeah, I see the chat and I see that. So have not done it before. So I'm so glad you're here. I'm going to show you exactly how to be set up for success today. So if you didn't print off our little sheet about applique that came with the class, that's totally fine. It shows the 4 different types of applique that we're going to be talking about today. But if you don't have this to take notes on, get a notepad, pen, and like Felicia said, this is recorded. So you'll be able to reference back to this over on Michael's YouTube channel within a day or two. So you can watch this again if you ever get stuck, but let's dive in. So Cindy said she's ready. So the first thing I'm going to show you all today is some previous projects that we've done, because I want to just get you familiar with what applique looks like. I feel like if you can see what the end result is, as we go through the steps to get there, it'll make more sense. So I'm going to set these aside for just a second and pull one out at a time. Okay, so we've all seen cute little, look at this, little onesie with a ghost applique. This is a class we did either 1 or 2 October, maybe even 2 Octobers ago. And this is an applique. I just cut out a little ghost, and it's kind of hard to see, but there is black satin stitch all the way around. This is a very traditional style of applique with the satin stitch. It creates a really nice border all the way around. I even use the satin stitch to make a mouth, and we've got the eyes. And one thing we're going to talk about in a minute is stabilizers. We're going to talk about this briefly because when we do these different projects and these other tutorials, you'll get more in depth on the type of stabilizer you need based on what you're appliquing. But since this is a stretchy knit material, okay, we need our to have a stabilizer that's going to allow that to still be soft and stretch, but be stable for our appliques. So we have that. I also had to make it in an adult size shirt. So I think those are super cute with the little button eyes. And then we moved over to a Christmas. Now this is what's called a raw edge applique. Instead of doing that satin stitch all the way around all of these trees, we just did a single straight stitch all the way around. And I used pinking shears to give it that little zigzag edge so it wouldn't fray. And this was a very simple, this is a great beginner applique technique. Now this right here, I don't have it in the pillow, but it's actually a reversible pillow wrap. So you can decorate any pillow for the holiday. And you don't have to store big bulky pillows. You can just wrap this around your existing pillows. So This was another project we did, and I'm sure Amy will link this one for you guys in a little bit as well during the class, but this is that raw edge. So we're going to talk about that technique as well today. And then one of my favorite projects we've done that's applique with Michael's is a beach towel. And this has got this cute flower. I'm going to leave it sideways, but the flower comes from the bottom, goes all the way up. But we did this big flower. I just hand drew this and traced it out. But what's really cool about this is this is done on terry cloth. So we've got these like loops and stuff, and this can be hard to sew on. And when you do that, not only do you need stabilizer on the underside, which I've torn away since I've finished it, but we also need a stabilizer that can go over the top and protect our stitches and our needle from getting caught in all of these loops. And we've got this clear stabilizer. I know that's kind of crazy. And this was over it. And then we stitched through that, and then this all melts away or washes away. So there's so many different types of stabilizers that you can use depending on what you're appliquing on. So being aware of the fabric you're going to be sewing your applique onto is going to determine the type of stabilizer you need. So this was another great project. This one was inspired by a towel that my mom made me when I was a little girl, and it had my name on it. And Bethany's not a super common name, especially back in the 80s. So she put my name on my towel, and I was obsessed with it. And I still have that towel today. And that towel has seen better days, but that applique, because she did it the right way, is the best looking part of that towel. It is held up for over 30 years. So if you do applique the right way, and we're going to set ourselves up for success today, it can last a very long time. So can we get links to those sheets? Yes, Amy will drop links to, she can drop this in the chat for today's class, but she's also, I see, dropping links to like the spooky applique t-shirt that I showed you with the ghost. All right, and so, and this one I meant to say real quick, if you can see, that's that satin stitch. It's easier to see on this one. And that's what we're gonna start with. So we're gonna start with what's called fused applique. So let me get now I've just got little samples we're gonna use today. Just makes it a little easier for on camera. So I've got just a piece of denim here, and I do have a sticky tearaway stabilizer on the back for today's, let me pull this out for today's class. So there are a couple of different stabilizers. You want preferably a tearaway. So it's a tearaway because it will tear when you pull it apart. Now this one does not stick. This one you would just pin to your material, but this one has a little backing. You peel that off and it's sticky. I personally really like the sticky because I can just peel it off, stick it on, and it's not going to go anywhere. I don't have to pin anything. It's really easy to use. So out of the two, I'm always going to lean towards the sticky tearaway and put that on the back. And I am going to take this circle that I cut out, and I'm going to fuse it to my denim material. Now, for applique, one of the most common things you're going to use is some sort of double-sided adhesive. So there's a lot of different brands out there. I think at Michael's, they carry what's called heat and bond, and there's different weights of it, like a light fusible, heavy fusible, it just kind of depends. So this is just I think a lightweight or medium fusible heat and bond, but it's basically where it's bumpy. It's hard to tell, but you can kind of see in the glare, there's some bumps and ridges there. So you can probably hear that a little bit. And that is the bumpy side. And then there's a smooth side. And what I did is I fused the bumpy side to the wrong side of my fabric. And then I drew a shape and cut it out. So I just traced a circle. And now that non-bumpy side, if I peel this paper backing up, this comes off, and see how it's shiny? Let me see if I can move my hands over here. See how it's shiny? That means it's sticky. It's smooth, but it's sticky. So that fusible side right here is fused to the fabric. And then once I fuse it to the fabric and I pull this paper, it's like a little wax paper off, it's shiny here, but this is the other double-sided part of that fusing. And what I'm going to do, which I meant to do before class started, let me turn on my iron. What I'm going to do is I'm going to place this shiny side down to my project, and I'm going to press it, and that's going to fuse this to my fabric. Now, you do not have to use a fusible for applique. You don't, but we do not want this to move around. We want this to stay perfectly flat and secure to our fabric. So when we stitch around it, it's not going to shift and move and pucker or anything. So let's give my iron just a second. Now I'm going to show you another example here in a minute after we do the standard satin stitch on this. I'm going to show you a raw edge applique on this square, and I'm going to go ahead while we're here with the iron and remove this one as well. And I'll just press both of them down so we're set up for both. Okay, let's see. Is this getting warm? Ooh, yep, there we go. I'm going to try to do this left-handed, but I am not left-handed. I'm going to turn that steam off so it doesn't steam up my camera. I don't really need it for this. And you really don't have to press it very much. It sticks pretty easily. So there we go. So now you can see that's not coming off. It is now one with the denim. All right, so let's go over to the sewing machine. And oops, I moved my camera. You can see how rainy it is outside. It's a rainy, yucky day. Perfect day for sewing. So I'm over here with my circle, and I'm using the heavy duty. One of the reasons why I like to use a computerized machine for applique is it's very detailed work. And one thing that is easy to do is to hit the foot control too hard and go a little too fast. You want to take your time. So I actually really like my computerized machine because it has this little speed control, and I can like turn it all the way up or turn it all the way down or somewhere in between, so it doesn't get away from me. Yes. Okay, so what I'm going to do is bring you guys in a little closer. Excuse me for moving the camera, but I want you guys to be able to see. So the first thing I'm going to do is change my foot. Now I had that satin foot sitting here just a second ago, and I went and moved it, and here it is. All right, so I'm going to use this open toe foot for my satin stitch. It's just going to give me really good visibility of where I'm going and where my stitch is as we stitch around this circle. All right, so I'm just attaching that to my machine. The other thing to note is I do have what's called a rayon thread, which this is a different color. I'm using white in my machine today, but the rayon thread is typically used for applique. It's a really nice satin finish. And so it's a really shiny, fun, and it comes in so many colors. So we're using that on the top, and we're using the rayon bobbin thread as well. Okay, so we've got our machine threaded. The other thing that we need to know is what stitch to set our machine to for a satin stitch. So believe it or not, a satin stitch is just a zigzag stitch. So what's great about this heavy duty computerized machine, it's got some preset stitches here. It's got more down below, but we're just gonna click on this one for zigzag. It's just a zigzag stitch, but we want to adjust our stitch length as low as it will go. Okay, this one goes down to 0.3. So you need it to be around there if you can, or you can do it a little further up. It's honestly personal preference, but if you want to get that really smooth border all the way around, you want to do a low stitch length, and then the stitch width is also personal preference. Since we're going around this circle, we can leave it at 5. You can make it a wider stitch. You can make it a skinnier stitch. It's up to you. The skinnier it is, the harder it is to keep it aligned with the edge of your fabric. So I like to keep it somewhere between 4 to 6. So we're just going to stick with 5 today. And we're going to get set up to sew real quick. So let me tilt you down. And I'm going to do my best to do this at an angle where you guys can see, and then I can still see where we're going. All right, so what you want to do when you're doing a applique is you want most of the stitch to be on the fabric you're appliquing. So we want the stitch to fall when the zigzag goes back and forth. We want most of the stitch to be on the applique and just catch the edge of this fabric. That's also how it's going to help it last a long time through wash and wear, especially that beach towel I've had for over 30 years. So I'm going to lower my foot and my needle, and I'm just going to do a couple of hand wheel stitches just to make sure I'm lining up. Now I know it's hard to see because there is a glare with the light that's on the computerized machine. It is a very good light, but it does sometimes create a bit of a glare here. But if you can see, I am barely catching the edge of this circle. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start stitching around. I don't think I've ever done this from a weird angle, but we're going to give it a go today. Now, as you're going around curves and shapes, sometimes you need to leave your needle in the down position, lift your foot and adjust your fabric a little bit, and then keep going. We're gonna pivot. It's gonna be the word of the day, pivot. Now, I don't know if you can see back here yet. I'm gonna keep going a little bit, and then you guys can see this is creating a really nice border all the way around. What's fun about applique is you can really play around and do a lot of cool things, and ways you can make things stand out and look different is by choosing contrasting threads or matching threads if you don't want it to stand out. Oh, my thread broke. But let me stop real quick and show you what it looks like real quick. Do you see that? Look how nice this is looking going all the way around this curve here. That's the satin stitch. That's how you get that really bold border all the way around your design. So I'm going to rethread in a second, but we would continue to go all the way around. And when we get back to here, we would just kind of stitch over this, do a little back stitch, and then trim our threads. You can pull this one to come to the back and tie it off in the back. And just kind of finagle it to get it to come to the back. So you don't have any loose threads on the front. So how cool is that? That's a satin stitch. This is the most common applique stitch that you will see. I'm going to hold it up here so you guys can maybe see it a little better. There you go. Any questions about this stitch? It's a zigzag stitch with a low stitch length, and your stitch width is personal preference, and you want most of the stitch to be on your design going right along the edge. See how I got that really good and close. Maybe I should sew from a weird angle more often. So yeah. Now I saw the question, is there a fabric that isn't well suited for applique? Honestly, I feel like you can just applique on most things. What's gonna make or break your applique, depending on the fabric, is the stabilizer. So as I mentioned before, if you're sewing on something that's like an applique that's something like stretchy, like this material, you're gonna want a fusible cutaway on the back, like a mesh fusible cutaway to give it some mobility still. But you're also going to need to double that up with some tearaway as well while you do your applique. So again, the classes that we're linking will dive into more details of the stabilizers to use based on the material that you're sewing on. But today we're just using some sticky tearaway. Okay. What do you think of this? That looks so nice. Okay. So I'm going to rethread my machine real quick because I broke my thread. I'm so sorry. You know, these things only happen on camera. Vanessa, my coworker who's in the chat with you guys, she can attest to that because she's done Zooms and live streams and it always happens that a thread breaks or something that you're just like, but why? Why today?
But that's just real life because
It
it does
is.
it to everybody. So
It does.
it
really
happens.
does. It does happen. Thank you. Okay, so next I'm going to show you on the square how to do what we call a raw edge applique. So I did not use the pinking shears on this one. I just left it raw. This fabric wasn't really fraying, but you can do pinking shears and make it really fun. But we're going to come back over to the machine. Now for this, I mean, I could switch out my foot and go back to just a universal foot, but I think we'll just leave it for now so that you guys can see better. We can do a couple of things here. So I'm going to do a couple of stitches around this and we'll just kind of play around with it. The first one I'm going to do is just a straight stitch. It's just a straight stitch and you can choose how close or how far you want to go from the border. This is just securing the design to your project. And we're going to leave it down, lift up, and pivot. Now we could switch to a zigzag stitch, and maybe we do a more narrow zigzag stitch, so it's not super wide. We've got a longer stitch length, so it's not going to be a thick border. It's just a zigzag. Lift and pivot. But maybe we want to do a blanket stitch. And that should have started over here, but we're going to pivot. There we go. So here's our blanket stitch right along the edge of the fabric, and we're just tacking a little bit up on the applique. We're going to do more of this blanket stitch here in a little bit. And then maybe we want to, I don't know, we could do so many different stitches here. We'll just go back to a straight stitch. You really have a lot of freedom to decide what you want to do on your applique. This is where the creativity can come into play. Ignore that little stitch out right there. But we've got a straight stitch. We've got a zigzag stitch. We've got a blanket stitch across here. We did another straight stitch. These are just different ways that you can finish off an applique. It does not always have to be a satin stitch. So I'm going to hold this up so you guys can see it a little better. There it goes in focus. It takes a second. Compared to the satin stitch we did earlier. It's just completely different looks. The whole point is to attach and secure your applique design, your shape or whatever you're putting on your material so that it doesn't come off, okay? So that it lasts. So let's move on to turned edge applique. Now, could you do a corner with a satin stitch? Yeah, you could absolutely change your stitch and just do corners. You can do the scallop stitch, which is super cute. Some machines have it. Some machines have it. Just a scallop stitch. So on this machine, let me turn this. I'll show you exactly which one I'm talking about. I think a good visual is always helpful. Let me, so you don't see my lap here. I don't really care. Let me turn this around. So the scallop stitch would be like this one right here, number 25, where it makes like a little loop, 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 almost like little waves. This one would be super cute to do along the edge. There's a more of a wider scallop here. There's so many different stitch options. And that's another fun feature of computerized machines is you do get a lot more stitch options than you do on a mechanical. And so 25 or number 40 would both be great options, even this one right here, 34. So you really could play around with it and have a lot of fun with it and really dress up a design. So if you were doing like a little heart, that little scallop would be cute around it, or a flower would be super, super cute.
Bethany, before you do your turned applique, can you show how to do a corner with the satin stitch? So actually turn the corner.
Yes. Let me get in here and do that. Great question. So let me set myself up for a satin stitch. Now I'm going to kind of start closer to the corner over here. And I guess I need to lower my stitch length here before I forget. I'm going to go all the way to the edge, even just like a stitch off. And I'm going to stop. My needle is lined up with that corner. So I know when I lift my foot and I pivot, it's now going to go back over those stitches a little bit. It's all about where you stop in your needle placement. So those stitches are going to overlap just a little bit in that corner, but it really does secure the corner. And you get these beautiful, crisp corners. So what I did is I stitched all the way to the edge. I stitched one stitch off the edge and I made sure my needle stopped right at that corner. And then I pivoted my fabric and it started right back over again and went right over that corner. Nice and crisp and clean. There you go. Does that help? I think it helps to see that step. And so when you're going around like weird angles and stuff, and you have these curves and then they come to a point and all of that, you have to kind of think about, okay, where do I need my needle to stop? So I can pivot this and it'll continue to go in the right direction. And that's where you just kind of have to like think about, that's why the open toe foot is so helpful, because you can see where you're going and plan out your stitches as you get to them. Okay, so does that help? I hope that helps. Let me know in the comments if that visual helped you see how to pivot on a corner. So now we've done a curve with the satin stitch. See if I can get that to focus for you. Sometimes it wants to, sometimes it doesn't. And then we've done the corner. Here we go. Awesome. Okay, so if you're just joining us, a couple of people just joining us, we welcome you. This is recorded, so if you missed the beginning, that's totally okay. Just pick up where we are, and you can watch the replay over on Michael's YouTube channel in a day or two when it airs over there for replay. Okay, so now we're going to do turned edge applique. Now, a turned edge applique is a different technique that you don't see a whole lot, but we're going to talk about it today. This is going to be more of an advanced applique technique. Personally, in my book, I think it is. I'm going to show you what we're going to do, and then we're going to finish this. So this is a flower. This is a stock image I printed off Google, basically, and I enlarged it a little bit. And I am recreating that flower here. Now I'm going to bring it in close because I use that blanket stitch on this. And what's kind of cool is this is not a raw edge. The edges are folded in underneath. So how do we do that? I'm going to show you, and we're going to finish the circle, the centerpiece that's going to go right in the middle. So that's how I'm going to show you real quick. So I got most of the flower started because this is a little more tedious process. But what I did, I'm going to actually come over here, move these out of the way. So I have my print here, and I went ahead because there's 6 different pieces on this flower, and I wanted to make sure, since they're all a little different, that they got put back in order. Okay, and so I numbered them, and then I took my fusible, double-sided fusible, that heat and bond, and I lay it over, and I took a pen. I used a Sharpie when I first did this, but you can take a pen and you're going to trace around each one. Now, when you trace around them, what's important to note is that you leave a little room around it. So as you trace around, this is not going to be the prettiest trace, but we're going to Do it real quick. I'm gonna write the number 2 there. And then I'm gonna shift over and do the next one. And they're not gonna be touching. And the reason is we need to leave a little space around each one as we do them. So what you're gonna do is you're gonna take some scissors, and I did not bring my paper scissors in here. All I have are my fabric scissors, and you know I'm not about to cut this with fabric scissors. It probably would be fine, but they're my favorite fabric scissors, so we'll use these. So I'm gonna leave a little room just like this, and I've already done this with the number 1, okay, which is my center circle for my flower. And I'm gonna take my fabric that I wanna use for the center. So for the petals, I use this fun pink polka dot, but for the center, I just want it to be white. And so I'm gonna take, now this fabric doesn't really have like a right and wrong side. So, but if you were doing a pink fabric, I'm gonna show you with this one. If I wanted to do it with this fabric, I would actually lay this fusible side, the bumpy side, down right side to the right side of my fabric here. It's the opposite of what we did before. Now we're not fusing it. We're not fusing it. We're just laying it on top, and we're going to stitch around our line here. So let me show you what I mean. This is my fabric. This is the right side. This is my fusible side, and I'm going to just lay that on top. And we're going to go over to the sewing machine. I'm not fusing it. I'm just going to leave this rayon thread in here for now. I am just going to sew around this circle that I drew with a straight stitch. Now, it's important that you follow your line as best you can. So you do need to stop and pivot. So leave the needle in the down position. And lift your foot and pivot your fabric. And that'll get you around this circle or whatever shape if you have a curve. Nice and easy. Don't really want to shift your fabric this way as you're sewing because this isn't fused, and we don't want any puckers or it getting crooked or anything getting off, and it's not going to end up being the right shape. So let me find my little snips here. I know this is going to be a little hard to see, but I have stitched all the way around my circle here. And now I'm going to take my fabric scissors and I'm going to trim around it, leaving about 1/4 of an inch all the way around. There we go. So there's my circle. And now this is where the fun part is, okay? So I want to kind of pinch the back where the fabric is and separate it from, and this is hard with small pieces, but we're gonna pull this back off and pull the paper away from the back. So see how I got it to separate? Because they're not fused. And we're going to just do a little snip so we don't snip our fabric, and we're going to cut into this. We don't want to cut our stitches. The other thing that we're going to do is we're going to go around and just do, because it's on a curve, we're going to do a little cuts in towards the stitches, but not cut the stitches. This is just going to help it fold nice and smooth when we flip it right side out. We're going to turn this. There we go. And if you have corners, you're going to want to snip corners. So like on these pieces where the corners were, I took a little piece, like I snipped the corners so that they laid nice and flat. And now we're just going to turn it right side out. It just takes a little finagling and a little bit of patience. And then you're going to want to use like a corner tool. So I've got this little gadget here, and I'm going to just gently, I don't want to tear the paper. I'm going to just gently run that along the seam so that it's a nice, pretty circle all the way around. There we go. And then we're going to kind of come on this side. This is one of those applique techniques that you have to trust the process. But those tend to be my favorite kind of projects where you're just like, I don't know if this is going to come together. And then you like follow all the steps and you do it and you're like, oh, it worked. And so this is why I like to show this one, because it's a lot of fun. So now now this circle is actually not a perfect circle. It's not meant to be for this flower. Every little piece was a little bit of a different shape. So I'm going to kind of run this through here a little bit more. But what's important to note is the bumpy side, the fusible side, is now on the outside, and this is the front of my fabric. So now I'm going to line this up, and I intentionally made this just a little bit bigger to kind of cover up that whole center and overlap there. So now that I've got it on here, I can press it down with my iron, and this is going to fuse it in the spot that I want it on. And we're going to do that little blanket stitch around it, just like I did the petals before. So this is going to help it stay nice and flat and in place. Oh, yeah. All right. So now I'm just going to take my blanket stitch that we did earlier, and we're going to stitch around that. So let's go over to the machine. I'm going to select the blanket stitch. Now, I didn't really show you up close what that one is, so I'm going to show you right here. It is this one right here. So it's got a few straight stitches and then a little zigzag in, and a few straight stitches and a little zigzag in. Now, for this, sometimes when people use a blanket stitch on applique, it's because they don't really want to see the stitches, but they know that they need to have it tacked down. So you can barely see the little zigzags coming in. There is something called invisible thread, like a clear thread that you can put in the top and still use your white or whatever in the bobbin. And then you wouldn't even really see it at all. But we're going to select that stitch. And again, we want the straight stitch part of the blanket stitch to follow right along the edge and then just tack in. And I'm going to lower my stitch width a little bit so it doesn't tack in so far. And this is one of those stitches, especially on a curve, that you're going to have to stop and pivot it a few times as you go around. Remember how I said at the beginning of class, your speed control on your machine is your best friend. So if your machine has speed control, I recommend turning it down so it doesn't get away from you. If you have a mechanical machine that doesn't have speed control, that's fine. Just be conscious of it. Just very light taps on the foot control on the floor. also use the hand wheel. If you just needed to go one more stitch and you're afraid you're going to hit the foot control too hard, your hand wheel can also be your best friend in this case. We're almost around. What I love about the turned edge applique design is it really does create like a 3D effect. It gives it a completely different look. It almost lifts it up off of the material. So this is actually a really fun design to do on quilts or quilt wall hangings or designs like that. If you want to add an applique design to your quilt, this is a fun way to do that. Now this stitch, you cannot backstitch. So another feature on this machine that I really comes in handy sometimes is the little knot feature, this little button right here. It's a tie off. And so if I hit that, it knots and ties off my fabric so it won't come undone because, you know, on our decorative stitches, we can't backstitch. All right, so let me trim my threads and then I'll show you what this looks like real quick.
And while you're trimming that, Bethany, do you use any specific type or size of needle?
I think what I have in my machine today is just like an 80 universal, but you can use like a smaller needle. I'm sewing through denim, so I didn't want to use something too lightweight, but it really just kind of depends. I feel like a universal needle works just fine, but if you're sewing through and appliquing onto some really delicate fabric, you may want to use a smaller needle or like a microtex needle or something like that. So this is our cute little flower. See how it's barely stitched on and it's raised up off. It's super cute. Let me see if I can show you better right here. I think this is so cute. It gives it that three-dimensional look. Awesome. Let's see here. Okay, so any questions about the turned edge? I know I went ahead and did the petals because we would have been here all day doing just this flower had I not, but I wanted to show you how it looks and how it can be really fun and playful. One of my colleagues, Meredith, she did a project recently over on singer.com that you can go watch where she did like a quilted like table topper. But she did it was a beach theme and she did a beach ball in the turned edge applique and then like a little beach umbrella and a seashell, and they were all turned edge applique, and it literally just lifts it up off of that quilted design and it looks so cute and so fun. So that is turned edge applique. Now we have one more technique I'm going to show you and just a few minutes left of class. So this is this is reverse applique. We can also call it doing patches with applique. So there's just different ways that we can do it. This is the look we're going to achieve. But remember all of these other stitches I showed you. So we've got the satin stitch, we got straight stitch, we got the blanket stitch, we got zigzag stitch. You can choose different stitches. I just thought this one was really cute. I don't know what it is about today, but I'm really feeling the blanket stitch today because it adds just a little bit. It's not bold, but it's attaching to the back. So you can do some fun reverse, meaning you can see the edge of the denim and it's just peeking out underneath. This is also a really fun technique to do if you have, like, let's say jeans with a hole in them or jeans that are like, you know, torn or shredded and you want to add some color behind it. This is a fun way to do it. So one of my little tricks here is because we're not using that heat and bond, that double-sided heat and bond to hold this in place. I am a big fan of seam tape. And seam tape, this is water soluble. And basically it's just a tape that you can stick on. So it's water soluble, meaning after we sew this and we wash it, this will dissolve away. But you press it down and lift this up and it leaves this little double-sided sticky tape. And so you can kind of put this all the way around the edge of your design. It's okay if it peeks out from our circle a little bit, because again, it's gonna wash away after we wash it. And this is just gonna help hold this in place. Another time I really like to use seam tape is when I'm attaching zippers to things, because pinning and clipping sometimes that bulk can cause the zipper to shift. But seam tape is wonderful. It's also great for if you're trying to hem a material that you can't really press with an iron, like velvet. You can use seam tape to fold up your hemline and hold it in place while you stitch it so it doesn't wrinkle and pucker and pull. And then you don't get crushed velvet from your iron. So now that I've got my seam tape around my opening on the back side of my denim, okay, I'm going to take my circle here, and this is the right side, this is the wrong side. I'm going to put it right side down because that's what I want to see from the other side. And I'm just going to press this to that seam tape. Now this is a temporary hold. So if I need to pick this up and shift it, I absolutely can. So if I had a fabric that had like a really cute little image on it, let's say, I don't know why Santa's coming to mind, but let's say I had a little Santa right here and it wasn't center, I could lift this up, shift it over, get it centered, and then it, you know, keep going. So you can do some really fun little designs through, it's like a little peekaboo. Okay. Now, as I mentioned, we've got this little blanket stitch here that we can do, but you can do so many different stitches all the way around. So we're going to go over to the machine and we're going to start with a blanket stitch, but if we want to switch, we absolutely can. If you guys have a suggestion of what you want to see, we can change it up. But again, we want the straight stitch to be just on, oh, sorry, let me tilt this down for you. I apologize. We want the straight stitch to be just on the edge of this denim and that tack to go into the fabric. So let's get going. And this is another one where you just take your time and go all the way around the edge, nice and slow, and pivot. Every time I say pivot, I think of the Friends show, but we're just tacking this down. Okay, I'm actually going to switch to a zigzag stitch just for fun. And I'm going to lower my width a little bit. So you can see what it looks like with a different stitch. This is where when you're doing stuff like this, you want to have like a little sample piece and go, oh, which design do I really want it to look like? What stitch do I want to choose from? Okay, and now I'm going to lower my stitch length and do a satin stitch. I do love personally the look of the satin stitch. It just takes a little longer to get all the way around because your stitch length is so short. So it's just personal preference. My snips, and I'll hold this up close for you all to see. All the different stitches. So we started with the blanket stitch. I think that just is super cute. Again, you could have done a scallop stitch or something else. And then we switched to a zigzag stitch with a wider stitch length. And then I switched over to a satin stitch. So you really have a lot of choices and they all look different going all the way around. And this crease, just a fun little peekaboo. Now to me, this kind of takes away from that peekaboo effect because you're filling in this border completely. So that's where I feel like these are a little more fun for this reverse applique technique. But again, it is personal preference and totally up to you. If you were doing something that was more sheer, like on a pair of pants, and you had a little hole and you want to do where you could see through it and then you just did a satin stitch around it, that would be super cute too. But again, personal preference. And that is our 4 different applique techniques. With the satin stitch is most of the stitch on the denim or the inside fabric? Great question. Most of the stitch is going to be on the inside. So I'm going to show you here on this one where we did this corner. Let me see if I can get it into focus. Sometimes my camera wants to focus on the wrong thing and I'm trying to get it. There it goes. See how most of my stitch is on the inside of the fabric and just catching the edge of the fabric along the applique square. That is what you want. That's what's going to help it last over time and not pull apart from the fabric. So you want most of the stitch. Great question. Most of the stitch on the inside fabric. Thank you, Karen. I appreciate that. I hope you guys learned something new about applique. I know we went through 4 different techniques today pretty quickly, but we only have an hour together, and I'm just glad that we got through all of them. As Amy had linked before, all the different classes that we've done with applique that I showed at the beginning. So let me hold those up real quick because we have just a few minutes. So for those who missed it at the beginning, we've done an applique beach towel class. Actually, it goes this way. How cute is that? This was such a fun class. So this is a really fun one if you want to make a little summer beach towel. We've done, and by the way, this one with the satin stitch all the way around. Super fun. This one was a raw edge applique. This is actually a pillow wrap. It velcros and is reversible. And this class we did a couple summers ago for Christmas in July, I believe. And so we have that one. And then we have the little ghost shirt and baby onesie that we've done before. Has the satin stitch. That what was great about this class is this is on a stretchy knit material. So we talked about using the right stabilizers for stretchy materials. And then those are just a few of the classes that we've done that have applique incorporated into them. So I hope you will go back and watch those classes, try some of these projects, get more comfortable with applique. Of course, we're always here to teach you new things every single month. So we're excited to come back in August and teach you something else. And we appreciate you taking some time out of your day to hang out with me and Amy and Vanessa and all of us to be able to learn a new sewing technique. The next class, I think Amy might be able to post that. I don't want to say it's August, but I don't want to say the date because I don't remember off the top of my head and I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. There she said, August 17th. So that class, we're actually going to talk about an introduction to computerized machines. And I showed you some reasons today why I really love them. But if you're curious about those, that's going to be a very informative class on machines specifically. So, all right, guys, I hope you had a wonderful time in class. I'll see you next month and always happy sewing. Bye.